Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I thought I would do a review on my car. It's a 2009 328i E90, and so it's a very nice looking car, I think. I mean, of course I'm biased, I own the car, but it's got nice lines go down it. I mean, mine's got a few scratches, but it's still very nice looking. Wheels are good, I mean they're aftermarket, but they're still very good. So this is an LCI. 2009 was the first year of the LCI model, so it has different kidney grills. They're one piece instead of two. The pre-LCIs look like they're wearing a mustache or something. I mean, I personally find them very ugly. When I was looking for this car, I didn't even consider a pre-LCI model because I just don't like the way they look. And the LCIs also have these creases in the hood, which I think kind of just give it a much more like elegant type of look. Okay, and now the back of the car. Again, the LCI got new tail lights. These look a lot better. LED turn signals, nicer looking two-part tail lights at the bottom. This part's red with just a little slip for the reverse light. I think it looks much better. The pre-LCI ones look like something you might see on a Corolla or something. Really not befitting of a BMW at all. Being a 328, we just have the single exit with the two tailpipes coming out of one muffler. The 335s have two tailpipes, one on either side. I think that looks better, but you know, it's a 328, so what can you do? Okay, we're in the inside of my car now, and it's black interior, and it's pretty nice. We've got this wood grain trim. Some people don't like it, they prefer the aluminum trim. I guess it's just a matter of personal taste. I much prefer the wood, actually. I don't like the fact that this one didn't have an ashtray. I don't smoke, and I don't want the ashtray. I just want the lid that goes on it. I'm thinking about buying a used one and removing the ashtray just to have the lid. But and then so the dashboard, it's really not that nice of a dashboard. It's nothing particularly pleasing about it, but it gets the job done. One thing I don't like is there's no thermostat gauge. It has this stupid little real-time MPG gauge, which I don't really believe is very accurate, but it could be. I might be wrong about that. So now let's get to driving. So we have two modes here. We have drive and DS mode. Well, technically I guess three modes, and we have manual shift mode, or slap shift, or whatever you want to call it. So I prefer to go in DS mode. I think it stands for dynamic sport, could be wrong, but it makes the shifts later, and the only thing I don't like about it is on highway speeds you're revving at a higher RPM. So on the highway, after I've got into speed, I tend to go back to the drive mode because it'll drop the RPMs lower and better for fuel economy, and you're cruising at highway speeds, you don't really need to be in sport mode. Filming? Okay, so this is the radio and air conditioning heat cluster, and I don't like it. I wear polarized lenses, and you can't read any of this except for the 60 degrees part here with polarized lenses on. This car was made in 2009. They should have thought about that when they made it. Radio is confusing. I honestly don't know how it works even. I stay plugged into the auxiliary with my iPhone all the time, and the Bluetooth on it, it works for phone calls, but it doesn't work for playing music, so you have to run through the auxiliary cable. Even the USB will only charge, it won't play music. And that is in here, which I've got a bunch of other stuff in here, but the plugs are right here. And I've heard there's a tendency for the clip that holds these plugs to break and for them to fall in, but mine hasn't done that, and I don't ever unplug or plug in, so hopefully that won't happen to mine. Okay, so one thing about this interior that I don't like, actually I really don't like, is these cup holders. They pop out of the dash, and I mean there's not any space here for cup holders, but I'm sure BMW could have figured out something better than this. Apparently they also break. Mine are not broken, but I test drove one where it wouldn't pop out. It would just, you know, just do like that. So if you're looking at buying one of these cars, the back seat might not be your biggest priority, but it was for me, and you'll see why in a second. There's a lot of baby stuff in here. I have a 16-month-old. She was about a year old when I bought this car. She's actually almost 17 months now. And so I needed a back seat. My last car was a GTO. I mean, it has a back seat, but two doors, and it's really getting difficult bending over and shoveling her into that seat. And so it's not the most spacious. You can see behind the passenger seat to the baby seat, there's not much space there. to ride comfortably. I'm pretty short, so there's plenty of room on the other side. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna drive out onto the main road. Pretty good acceleration. It's enough to get up to speed very quickly. Car is rated at 231 horsepower at the crank. Mine might be producing a little more. If you watch my other videos, you'll see I've done a few little basic mods to it, squeeze out a little more out of it. Eventually I'm going to try to go with a tune and stage 3 intake manifold that comes on the 330s. Those come from the factory with 255 horsepower, and the only real difference is the manifold. They are otherwise mechanically identical. They both use the N52 3-liter straight 6 engine. We have in this car three traction control modes. We have with all driver aids on, which is the default mode. Then we have DTC, which is kind of halfway in between. I guess that stands for dynamic traction control. And then to turn everything off, you hold the button until this weird triangle warning light thing pops up on the dashboard. And that is no driver aids whatsoever. And this car is pretty hard to break traction in, so the driver aids really don't do much. I mean, it might have something to do that I'm running 255 section tires on the back, making it harder to break traction, but very rarely break traction unless I'm trying to do a slide or something and putting a lot of throttle into a turn. But so I'm about to show you in a minute here how well this car can go down a pretty twisty exit ramp. Alright, we're about to go down this exit ramp. I'm going to go into manual mode so that I can control the revs a bit better, and we'll show you how this thing can go around some corners. Going about 45 right now. Alright, now third gear pull, let's do it. Alright, 60, 70, 80, and now we are going to slow down and get off at the next exit. Alright, well this concludes my review of my 328i. I really love this car. If you're thinking about getting one, I totally suggest it 100. If you really want some more power, get the 335 though, because the mods are limited. You're not going to get 400 horsepower out of this car. But it makes a great commuter. It's really nice, it's comfortable, it handles excellent. Whole interior is pretty good, feels nice.